This doesn't make sense. How is his sister his daughter? How old is he? How old is his sister? Library of Laterno! The librarian is in here. This time they'll recognize your heroism. My nephew is actually my son!
I don't think that we ever did anything.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I don't...
Oh my god!
Not that I can remember. And I feel like I would remember something like that.
I hate being a therapist. Yeah, it's gotta be a bit. There's no way this is the real guy. No, this is definitely performance art.
Maybe she got a hold of my jars.
I don't think we ever did anything.
Why would she do that?
I don't think the jars.
13 years ago, it would have been. I mean, I remember when Aiden was born.
13 years.
Jars. I was around for that, and I thought I knew who the dad was. We always thought it was Bill Carrot. That was
Bill Carrot.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Not my girlfriend, my sister.
The rumor come out? Does that mean that he's been lying about this woman being his sister?
That's not the first time I've made that slip up.
Unreliable narrator.
My sister's boyfriend at the time was a guy named Billy Carrot.
Billy Carrot is a good name.
I wonder if he's still around. I have to ask him. I wonder if he even knows.
There's so many layers.
Because 13 years ago was when Aiden was born, and my sister and Billy were not married.
Why does he? And now he's dating Adolf now.
Hated him. I mean, we hated my sister too, but we especially hated Billy Carrot. And
they'll recognize your heroism, Dan.
They split up pretty shortly after that, about a year after. They didn't even last a year. I'm gonna have to see if I can get in touch with him. I feel like I remember him. I feel like he was one of those recurring Facebook.
There's so many layers to this cake. I wish I could elaborate.
But this still doesn't answer the question of what would be my sister's motivation to do this? Because
my jars.
I mean, that would really be playing the long game.
When does he start dating Adolf?
And we did take a paternity test.
You told me VT, thank you for the follow.
I said, I was so sure she was making it up. I was like, yeah, right. So I went, did you know you can get a paternity test on Amazon.com?
Oh no, the skull ring, the layers, that's why he shaves his head.
I've never been in this situation before. So we got in a big fight, my sister and I, the other day, because I finally just had enough, and I kicked her out of my house and Aiden, and I said, I don't care where you go, but get lost. Go back to Maryland. And so she said, oh, really? You're going to kick your son out of your house? She was really drunk, as usual. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, yeah, Aiden is your son, Dad. And I said, that's not funny. Shut your mouth. Get out and tell me the truth. She said, that is the truth. Get a paternity test. And I said, okay, I will. And I still thought she was making it up. It just seems like the type of thing that she would make up. And I guess I mean, there could have been, because basically the way the paternity test works is you ship it off to a place and then you get the results online. So I guess she could have fabricated the website She could have made a fake website and a fake email.
She
But
fabricated the
that's
whole
crazy. I mean,
website to
now
gaslight me.
I understand more why she would do that than why she would do it at all in the first place. It makes more sense to me that she would go through all the trouble of making I put the paternity test in the mailbox, which was stupid of me. I should have just dropped it off directly at the post office. I put it in the mailbox and then I forgot about it. And so it makes total it tracks to me that she would go
I stand
into the
with
mailbox
Dan. I believe Dan. He's a reliable narrator.
and then she would
He's a completely reliable
either
narrator.
She would do this, or one of her techie friends would make
I
a
stand
whole
with Dan.
fake website, because it's not that hard to make a website. So you could just make a fake website and a fake email, and type it all up like these are the results. And it looked like a pretty janky website too. I was like,
The paternity test website was too janky.
but I just figured, you know, scientists, those types, they're not really into web design, so I just figured it was one of those things. But because she needs me to be financially responsible for them at this point. And I'm starting to think that maybe this was the reason she came out to LA all along. Okay, so let's explore the two options. Option A, Aiden is my son, and he was all along. So that means 13 years ago, she took one of my jars. I have a bunch of jars of genetic material because I have it's a long story. Basically, every New Year's, I try to time it so that at the stroke of midnight, literally, I provide a genetic sample. And it has to be exactly on the dot at midnight. And I usually get it pretty accurate. And then I keep it, just for sentimental reasons, I keep it in a jar and I put the jar in the freezer. So I have one from every year going back as far as
reasons.
as far as it was even possible.
The serial gooner.
So that would mean 13 years ago, she took one of the jars and somehow, I guess it wouldn't be that hard in theory. And I don't know what her motivation would have been at that point.
He's Kira coded. It's true.
We always, we always sort of had a running joke in our family, like, oh, you two one day are gonna get married and have a kid. It was sort of like everybody always told us that we seemed more like a couple than siblings. And they were like, well, so when's the wedding? You know, when's, like, our whole family was like an inside joke. Like, are you pregnant yet? But I thought it was just, every family has those types of jokes. You know, I thought that was
Every what?
But I guess it could have, I don't know.
I believe Dan. Dan is a reliable narrator.
Well, I guess really, okay, so, all right, so that's option A. And then, if that happened 13 years ago,
But not like that.
what doesn't make sense to me is that she would wait 13 years and then execute her whole plan of becoming, making me being financially dependent on me. Why not just do that a year after?
His wife Adolf,
So that doesn't really make sense.
wants to divorce him because he won't stop being the Joker.
What makes more sense to me is that she got to a place in life.
This is how
where
crazy
she
bitches
was
talk to
destitute.
themselves. This is actually how crazy
And so
bitches talk
she
to
said,
themselves to delude themselves out of reality. It's
I am
true.
going to go out to Los Angeles to visit, and somehow I'm going to
This is how crazy
ensnare
bitches talk to
Dan in my
themselves.
life. So, I mean, I don't know if maybe, you know what? Maybe the car wasn't in drive. Because the initial accident that paralyzed Aiden was because I thought I got pulled over and got out of the car and left the car in drive, I thought. But There's no way to know
The car,
that
the
car was in
lore.
drive. I just don't remember. So it sounds crazy, but I bet she put the car in drive herself and drove it off the cliff and unbuckled his seatbelt so that it would seem like it was my fault. And she could then milk me dry for every drop that I had.
This is unfiction.
I'm not sure where the
This is an
plan
ARG.
ends and where real life
Dan!
begins. Like, I don't know if Aiden maybe was going to shoot up a school and that was all just, he was just going crazy independently and she used that to her advantage.
Independently.
But this is making a lot of sense.
So much sense.
So she got to the point where I had to financially provide for them.
I'm the
and
cocky
then now,
boing boing guy.
this
I'm
is
internet
the last
famous.
step of her master plan. But here's the other problem. She must know that, I mean, I don't know specifically what the law is, because if I did not consent to having this baby, then I don't believe that legally I'm responsible for it, but I don't know really in California. And would it even be California? Would it be Maryland because it happened in Maryland 13 years ago? And then she faked the paternity test.
Yeah. Adolf
you know what
from
I have to do?
4chan. I want to hear
I'm
about
gonna have to
Adolf
get a
again.
more official one. I'm gonna have to go to a doctor. That's what I'm gonna do. It was stupid to rely on the male test. I had a terrible 4th of July. I hate 4th of July.
I hate 4th of July. 18-year-old
I don't
Adolf.
like things that are loud.
18-year-old woman named
I really
Adolf
don't like
from
fireworks.
4chan, who is dating his 12-year-old fat, paralyzed son, who is incestuously had with his sister, who he paralyzed, who was also a school shooter.
Okay, so next step, I like to say concrete. What's the next thing I have to do? Next, they're still in my house. So
Via jar.
I am going
Via
to
jar.
have to, I feel like that's perfectly within my rights to say, all I have to do is insist on going to the doctor and getting a paternity test, which she could not possibly fake. So if she's resistant to that idea, then that's my answer right there. I don't even need one. Then I'll know that she's making all this up. If
He's
she
delusional.
refuses to do that test that she can't fake,
He's delusional!
then we'll know.
He's based.
Regardless, he is not my son. Even if genetically that is supposedly the case, it does not matter. Because your
Based
DNA
and
your
red
genes
pilled.
is just whatever happened to happen. I can choose who is my son and who is not. And he is not my son.
I can choose who is
I
my
am not
son.
his dad.
I can choose who is and is not my son.
I don't care what the DNA says. I guess I should be happy because I know now that regardless, they're out of my life. I hope that he is my son because then that way I have every reason to say, get out of my life, you too, because of an insane thing that she did that I think is illegal. She's stupid. It's gonna be very hot today. we're in a heat wave.
It's so hot. You just
It's
drop
very
that.
hot.
You just got to drop that on them.
So I'm glad I got here. I got out here early. In
Me
the morning,
too.
It's not so bad. That's what I like about California. It's well, there's a lot of things I like about California, but that's a big one. Is that it gets very cool at night in the summer. So it was 62 last night was the low, and the high was 90.
Wow.
So it really cools off. East Coast is not like that. East Coast feels like you just took a shower in the middle of the night.
God, he's so right for that.
All right. Well, I'll keep you updated because, yeah.
He got fired from his job as a therapist. He got fired from his job as a doctor. He got fired from his job at Target.
Welcome
He's
to
getting fired.
Hinabobina's Twitch.
This one. Is this from a longer video? Is this from a longer video? You guys aren't ready for the title of this one. And he shaved his eyebrows off. The title of this video is My Sister is Actually My Daughter.
Why does anything exist at all? What is this?
Holy shit.
What does it mean to exist? Was it all an accident?
Guys, there's a spider in my room.
Did it all just happen?
I don't think
Because
he
it
wants to
could?
be in here. He's a friend.
Walk on the sidewalk. There's a sidewalk right there.
Do spiders eat ants? Would a spider eat an ant? Yes?
After
Okay.
my last video the other day,
I'll just let him chill out. They eat uncles. I hope they eat this uncle.
tried to find out what the hell was going on.
This doesn't make sense. How is his sister his daughter? Did he have sex with
my
his
mother.
mom too?
And I asked her, Mom,
How old is he? How old is his sister?
why is my sister saying that
Will be revealed in time.
Aiden is my nephew, or son, or, son, yes. And she said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Run over their nieces over a
I said, Are
misunderstanding.
you sure?
He's
She
57.
said, honey, and she got upset. She said, honey, I only know what you know.
Welcome to Hinabobina's Twitch
If
channel.
I find out something, I'll let you know. Why would I hide this from you? And I said, I don't know, Mom, you're right. I'm sorry. And she hung up.
I'm with Spartacus. Thank you for the follow.
The next person I called was Bill Carrot,
Bill Carrot. Billy Carrot.
my sister's ex, who I thought was Aiden's father.
He looks like one of those bitches from Dune.
And I said, hey, Bill, it's Dan. I don't know if you remember
My
me, but
Dune.
there's some controversy with Aiden. You know, who Aiden's real dad is and all that stuff. So I was wondering if you knew anything
will
about
eat the
that
other
or,
pests.
Or why there would be any
They mimic
confusion.
ants to deter predators. Oh,
And he laughed
that's neat.
really, really hard.
We do got to see if his eyebrows are in the process of growing back.
Daughter will laugh.
Is he becoming more of a
And then he said,
skinhead?
oh, Dan.
Billy
You have
Carrot's
no
laughing.
idea, buddy. And I said, what? What do you mean?
Yeah, the Harkonnen scum.
And then he hung up too.
His whole life is a mystery.
Then my mom called me back,
Then he's gonna get hit by a car.
and I picked up. And she was crying. And she said, honey, I'm so sorry. She could barely speak. She was crying so hard.
Did his mom
I'm
also
so
take his
sorry I did this
jars?
to you. I'm so sorry we did this to you. I'm so sorry. And I said, Mom, what are you talking about? And she said, your sister, when we had your sister, we had to use a surrogate because I could not have children anymore. And I thought that was going to be the big secret. But she kept talking. And she said, so we were going to use your father's
What?
And I said, okay, you don't have to tell me this part. I know how it works. And she said, no. Listen.
She...
Do you remember the thing you used to do with the jars?
No, the jars!
And I said, yeah, I still do it. I still do it every New Year's. And she said, do you remember how you would keep them in the downstairs freezer? Basically, if you didn't watch the last video, I explained that every New Year's at midnight, at the stroke of midnight, literally, which was the same joke I used in the video before, but I think it's funny, so I wanted to say it again in case you haven't heard that yet. At the stroke of midnight, literally, I will put my DNA fluid into the jar, and it's supposed to be sort of ritualistic magic.
Yeah,
that helps me have a good year, basically.
It's magic.
And I know it sounds silly and stupid and superstitious, but I don't know, it's... I guess it doesn't work.
He's so right. I guess it doesn't work.
That. I had one in the freezer.
Why would his mom do this?
The first year was 2005, and then I had 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, up until I moved away from Maryland. And she said, yeah.
Wait, no, because it's not her. She can't have kids, so it's the surrogate, so it's not incest.
3 years after your sister was born, we went into the downstairs freezer to get fish sticks for dinner. And we looked through the jars because we thought maybe it was behind them. And we found the jar that your father was supposed to have given to the clinic. The jar with your father's. And so we said, that's odd. Why would this be in here?
Oh no.
Did you bring it home from the clinic afterwards? No. Did you? No. I haven't seen this in years.
Oh no. The cum jars, the lore.
And we both looked at each other and we said, what if, as a joke, we said, oh my God, what if we accidentally gave them one of Dan's jars? And she said they both laughed because that was such a ridiculous
As a joke. As a joke.
So they looked through the jars. 2006.
This is my Avengers Endgame.
2008. They couldn't find 2007. So they looked and looked and looked. They still couldn't find it.
No.
So my mom told me they tore up every inch of the house trying to find 2007, the jar.
Wixmere, thank you for the resub with Prime. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Look at that face.
And we looked at each other like we had both just seen ghosts. And we said, we have to take this to our grave. And she said, to this day, we've torn up every inch of that house trying to find 2007. Every day we look for 2007, the jar. But we haven't found it.
It got sent to
your
the clinic.
sister is your daughter.
Dan. His sister is his
And
daughter.
at that moment, I came offline. 404 error.
His sister, daughter,
found.
mother of his son. What is the jar? He comes in the jar.
And I said,
And they
what?
sent the wrong jar off to the sperm clinic for the surrogate mother.
Give me 1 second, Mom.
And it's his
And I
sperm.
puked. For the first of many times that I would puke over the course of the past 2 days.
He's so
Came back on
smooth
the phone,
now.
My mom was still crying.
Harkonnen.
And I said, Mom, there must be a mistake.
His son, nephew, grandson. Yes.
Maybe I have 2007. So I looked everywhere in my room for 2007. I didn't have it. I only had them starting 2015. I tore apart my car. I went back to my old apartment and I knocked on the door of every single apartment I've ever had in LA and asked them if they had seen a jar that was labeled 2007. And they all said no. And I said, can I take a look? And they said, sir, we're going to call the cops, please. That was what the one apartment said. One of the people actually did let me take a look, but I think that they were... And that just got me thinking.
No.
Because
no.
I said, I don't know how to react. I don't know how to feel. I've said that a lot in my life. But I'm realizing I never truly meant it until now. I don't know how to feel. I don't even know if I feel anything.
He's a sociopath.
I don't know who I am. I don't know what it means to be me. I don't know what I am. I don't know what all of this is. Where are we? What is anything? That's the only thing that gives me any semblance of comfort. The only thing that stops me from puking again is remembering that
Nephew,
we
son,
still
grandson.
don't know what it means to be at all.
Welcome to
So how
Hinabobina's
can I
Twitch channel.
possibly know what it means to be a daughter, or a son, or a nephew, or a dad? I don't even know. What do all those words even mean? They mean nothing.
Travis Watson, thank you for the follow.
We came up with those words because we thought we felt a certain way. But what happens if you don't feel that way? What happens if you feel a different way? What happens if actually it turns out that your sister is your daughter after you've known each other for 25 years? I don't know.
25.
It's all just strands of DNA.
25 and her son is 13.
And I said, do they know what it means to be a mother or a daughter, or sister, or nephew? Or are they just eating grass?
That's
all
me
day?
yelling.
Do they feel anything? Or do they feel like me now? Do they just stare straight ahead and walk forward?
It takes place 25 years in the future.
Are we the only ones who are crushed by the weight of wondering what we are? Why should we bother? Maybe we should be like that deer. And just walk forward.
He fills it literally at the stroke of midnight. He collects new genetic material.
I can't stay at my house. I got a hotel. I came back to my house the other day, after I talked with my mom, and my sister was, or my whatever she is, that person was saying, are you, did you finally realize that I'm right about everything? And blah, blah, blah. Because she could tell I was. And I said, please, you can have whatever you want. I will give you my credit card. You can have my house. You can have my car. Well, never mind, you can't have my car. But you can have everything else. Just never talk to me again.
So then, did his sister use the jar? He's doing the frog blinkies. He's missing 2017.
Where are we?
His hairy ass legs. But he's an unreliable narrator. What's this? Sandwich? Making British sandwiches? Ew. It keeps going. The name of this video is just They Died.
Hi everybody, I am in such a better place than I was in the last video. Thank you so much to everybody who reached out with your concerns. I will admit I was kind of freaking out, but I feel so much better now. I feel like a dark cloud has lifted off of my brain.
And his girlfriend Adolf!
It feels so good to know that I have an audience out there who cares about me and who wants me to be okay. Sometimes that's the only thing that gets me through the day, honestly. So, my family died. I know.
All of them.
Isn't
all
that
of
crazy?
them.
I don't know exactly what happened. I wasn't there. Basically, the other day,
I wasn't there.
I invited my parents to come out here and come stay over with us.
Wait, all
so
of
that
them?
we
His
could all
parents?
have...
Oh my god! His parents too! They all died.
Sort of a little powwow, like a family
Invited his whole family over.
I think that was more than warranted given all of the recent developments. And they did, and we all sort of sat down and started talking about things, and it went very badly. I sort of ended up, I got pretty upset. And I was screaming. You know, I'm not perfect, right? I've said that many times. And so I have emotional maturity.
It went badly.
Unlike many of my family members. And so
he broke free from the cycle of misery and abuse.
I was getting upset. I realized that I was having difficulty.
I'm so glad Dan is prioritizing his mental health.
I removed myself from the situation. Something
God,
that I
so
used
good.
to tell couples
Good
all
for
the time
him.
when I was a counselor is,
Yeah,
if
that's
you
the Lord
just,
when he was a counselor.
just go out and go for a 10-minute walk, and I guarantee you, all of your problems will evaporate. If things start getting heated between you and a partner, or really anyone in your life, go outside, take a 10-minute walk. Drink a glass of water, and you will be amazed at how much that will completely rejigulate your entire sense of emotional being.
Lulu Lasso, oh my god, we're...
Welcome to Hinabobina. Twitch channel.
We're at a very
his sister,
intense point of an arc right now. Who is actually his sister, who is actually his daughter, because his parents gave the wrong semen sample to the clinic for the surrogate mother. And also who is the mother of his child because she stole his cum jar as well. And he has his nephew who's actually his son and his grandson who was in his car and his car drove off a cliff. He made them at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. And it drove off a cliff. And then his son, grandson, nephew got paralyzed. And then he was a school shooter for a little. That's like the least important part of this arc right now. And his girlfriend is named Adolf now, who's from 4chan.
So I left and I went to.
There's a lot going on, and now his whole family is dead.
I saw a movie that was so bad.
There's
that it
so
is
many
not
layers.
Even worth mentioning. Because I don't want to give them free advertising.
You saw a bad movie.
But basically, I saw the movie and then I came back and I found all of them. I don't want to be too graphic, but it was a horrible, grisly scene.
He put them in the jars.
I, of course, immediately called the police and they came.
That's crazy. He has an alibi. He has an alibi. He established he has an alibi. He was at the movie when this horrible thing happened. That's crazy.
That it was, I can't say exactly that I'm surprised because in this town we have a really bad homeless problem.
Oh my
and so
God!
I told the police, "Hey, Einstein, who's the detective? Sherlock Holmes. Hey, Sherlock Holmes. I don't think you need to be Einstein to figure out what happened here. Some crackhead, one of the people that you let run loose in our streets,
this is such a complex character.
And, probably wanted money for drugs or hookers or whatever they do.
This is such a complex character.
And they resented us for our lifestyle, and so they came in probably with a baseball bat. I don't know exactly, but
maybe like they were killed with a baseball bat.
Trauma from a baseball bat.
I would know.
The only reason I know that is because I sort of you look at a lot of true crime stuff, and so I can.
I only know.
Oh, that looks like those pictures that I saw that was a baseball bat hit somebody in the head with a baseball bat. That's what those pictures look like. I have sort of a mental Rolodex of crime scene photos.
We don't know.
So
he's like me with my mind palace, but for porno pictures.
Course, and I don't blame them for doing their jobs. They're just trying to be thorough, because I was very open with them about the fact that we had just all had an argument, and that I recused myself from the situation, and they're sort of. It makes sense. I mean, I wasn't there at the time, and I do feel very guilty about that. I feel guilty that I couldn't help them, and I have that sort of survivor's guilt, it's called.
Yeah.
I didn't stop whatever happened.
He seems really guilty.
And so I understand that they now have to do their due diligence.
Dan Herschel's going to come out with a book just called I Did It.
But, of course, I actually welcome that because I fully want to be able to proceed with this investigation and find whoever did this and know that I was completely exonerated, which I will be. Again, it's just a thing where I think that I've had some people in my life. I've had a lot of people in my life die under mysterious circumstances. I don't know why. Just kind of that sort of thing tends to follow me around. I don't know, if I have bad juju or whatever, but
a lot of people in my life tend to die under mysterious circumstances.
People, you can tell when somebody suspects you. You know what I mean? You can tell when That's so sad.
For
instance, when my ex-wife and my baby, her baby.
Oh my God!
I would always tell people, and they would get this look on their face halfway through me telling the story, like, and I was like, what's wrong? And they were like, oh, nothing, but I could tell that they were starting to suspect me. And so I would stop myself in the middle of the story and I'd say, listen, if you think that I did this, that is not true. I
have an alibi.
I think it's kind of a situation where so many people watch too many true crime videos, and
Who
so
could have
they
done
want
this?
to be a detective. They sort of have main character syndrome, and they want there to be some narrative because they want their life to be like one of their podcasts. And life isn't like that. Life is sort of arbitrary and meaningless, and sometimes things happen that are just tragic, and we have no real way to, parse it out. We want somebody to be responsible. We want it to feel like our authorities, the people that we entrust with the authority in our society, are actually doing something. And honestly, true crime, this is probably going to seem a little radical, but I think the central conceit of true crime is very conservative. Because it's sort of all about distrusting your community, and so anyway, that's sort of a tangent. But I just think true crime has done a lot of very bad things for the collective psyche of our society. Case in point, everybody, when I talk about people dying in my life, I think also in LA, there's a little bit of an element of people are looking at me and they're thinking, could I make a documentary about this guy and get rich? Because I have sort of that natural.
He's the main
look
character.
At my social media career. Clearly, I'm charismatic because people are invested and they're interested in me. Why are you here? Right? So anyway,
true.
I would be lying if I said it wasn't kind of a relief, because I don't know. I mean, you saw how I was in the past couple of videos. It was just getting confusing, and it was really messing with my head. And, a lot of people very astutely brought up that there were some discrepancies with the timeline. If your sister was 25 years old, then how was she conceived from 2007 jar, and if Augustus was 13, how does he fit into all that?
Where is the timeline? Where does it fit in?
Did she have Augustus when she was 4 years old? I think somebody said. All of those things are absolutely true. I never got the answer, because when I started reading that, I was like, oh my gosh, I think they're lying to me. I think somebody's lying to me about all this. And that was kind of partially what I was trying to find out during the intervention, so to speak, the family meeting. And I asked everybody straight up, are you lying to me? And they all didn't really have an answer. They were deflecting, and there's a lot of crying, and so anyway, I don't want to get too much into the boring family stuff, but I guess the main point of that I wanted to make in this video is that I appreciate everybody's thoughts. It means a lot to me that you all care so much. I'm doing much better. Of course, it's terrible what happened, but we'll
never know what happened. We'll never know.
I think it would be worse to lie and to say, oh, I'm so devastated, I'm my family. Oh no. I'm happy. And I think that makes me look even less guilty, because think about it like this. If I was guilty and I did that, I would lie. I would be like, oh my God, I'd be pretending
so true.
to be the sad brother, father, nephew, sister, whatever I am. And I would be like, oh, what a tragedy.
Yeah.
This is so terrible.
He's brave and stunning.
Not. So clearly I have nothing to hide, right?
Honesty is the best policy.
And I know you're probably now thinking, well, if you did do it, wouldn't you maybe if I did do it, then you would, if you're probably thinking right now, if you did it, there's a chance that you would be pretending that you didn't do it by being honest, like you are doing. Anyway, I'm just getting into.
He's so charismatic. That's why his social media career is going so well.
But that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, I appreciate everybody reaching out. I think I said that 10 times in this video, and I
Dan,
apologize.
are
It's
you
just that
okay?
my mind is really racing these days, and I've got a lot on my mind. But I'm excited for the future. To be honest with you, I think that I think that the universe has a way of sort of doing its own housekeeping. You know, it's kind of like if the dishes
his whole
start
family, they're all just
piling
dead.
up,
They're all just dead now.
Or
The
maybe
bit's
this is
done.
a better example.
The bit is over.
A wildfire. That's a pretty resonant example here in California this time of year. If there's to a certain extent, some wildfires are normal, right? Because it sort of helps too. If a forest grows too wild, then a wildfire can just sort of hit the reset button, you know, and that can be good sometimes for ecosystems.
It's so true. This is so profound,
it's bad when
honestly.
it's caused by human activity, but I think that sometimes it can be good. So, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. I mean, I'll keep you updated, but there's probably not going to be much to update you on because everybody just sort of... I hit the reset button, you know? My life has hit the reset button. I'm so happy. There's nothing I love more than getting a fresh start. That's sort of
I
the
hit the
silver
reset
lining in
button.
all of this. You know, this is not the first time my entire family has died, honestly. I think it's even the third time. And it's even worse now. I can't even remember, but
This is the third time it's happened.
You have to be optimistic, and you have to look at it from an optimistic perspective. Otherwise, you're going to lose your mind. So the silver lining is that I get a fresh start, and I'm not tied down.
He is Yoshikage Kira.
I chopped off Geppetto's strings, so that feels really good.
He's not a puppet anymore.
Okay, well, I'll keep y'all updated if you want to. I got a lot of cameos. That's really been helping to take my mind off of things these days. You know, and so you can get a personal video from me, and I'll wish your friend a happy birthday or something, and you can also subscribe to my Patreon where I have a lot of cool stuff on there. I did the other day. I did a tour of my house plants, so that was kind of cool.
Wow.
So yeah, there's lots to be happy about in my life. A few things to be sad about, but even more to be happy about. Okay, bye-bye.
My entire family is dead. Next recommended video, I ate my grandmother. My new girlfriend. Oh my god, it's her.
Hi,
it's
everybody.
Adolf.
So I'm really excited to announce that I'm dating somebody new.
Oh my god!
And she's really great.
There's
she's
just
funny,
one problem.
She's nice. We get along really well. She's not the typical type of person I probably would date normally, but yeah, she's great. There is just one.
What's
I
the
don't
problem?
even know if it's a problem. It's just weird. You
What
know,
is
and
it?
I don't really know what to make of it.
What could it be?
Her name is Adolf. And she just tells everybody to call her Addie. But I honestly didn't even really know right away.
She's back.
And
She's back.
when she told me, I was just kind of like, oh, you know, we sort of started off. It was kind of weird how we met because if you're a recurring viewer of this channel,
His eyebrows are growing back.
A couple videos ago, she was basically my worst enemy because of just a lot of stuff that I was dealing with at the time. My nephew, my sister, and she came into my life in an odd time. Sort of at an adversarial perspective. It's such a long story that's really not relevant or worth discussing at all. But basically, she was living with me, my sister,
she wasn't
my
in the
nephew for a
family.
while, and I think she was dating my nephew for a little bit, believe it or not. She's you know, she's on the younger side. I don't know. I know that can be kind of controversial age gap relationships and all that stuff. I don't think it's too bad. I mean, I'm 28 and she's 18. She'll be turning 18. She turned 18 recently. But not that recently because it was she's 18. And so we sort of, like I said, we sort of had an adversarial relationship. We we got off on the wrong foot a little bit.
Dan.
But then I think
You've missed too much Laura Jingus.
like,
you need to lock
hot.
in.
You know what I mean? It was kind of
You've missed like an hour of vlogs of lore.
And one night we both
She was dating.
my side of things, because I feel like we got off on the wrong foot.
She was dating his
and I'll be honest, I
13-year-old
was
disabled
kinda
fat
hoping
nephew.
You know,
Augustus
of course you
Gloop.
don't. With some people in your life, I don't know.
Who
if
was
you feel
also
this way,
his
but with some people in your life, it's like
grandson.
there's two categories. There's people that I would, you know, and then there's people I wouldn't. And basically, everybody in my life falls into one of those two categories.
That's so
basically.
psycho!
And so it was not at the forefront of my mind that I was going to, you know.
That's
But
so
she was
psycho.
in that category, definitely. And so when I initiated hanging out for the first time without my sister and my nephew, there was an undercurrent of like, yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, maybe something will happen. Maybe it
Most
won't. I don't
people
know.
are a
I wouldn't
yes.
stop it, you know. And so she's very quiet, and she spends a lot of time online.
She loves
you know.
4chan.
She spends a lot of time on 4chan, and you know, I don't really go on there very much, but
I wouldn't know.
I haven't heard good things. But then she sort of, I don't know, she was explaining it to me more, and she was going on it with me, and it's not so bad, you know. It's just a message board, you know. I mean, the thing is that they just don't have any moderation. So you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's more.
There's no moderation. There's zero.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of the stuff she was showing me was really funny. You know, the people on there were really funny. And you know, I was talking about, they have a board where you can discuss movies, and they have a lot of art on there and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, she won me over on that side. And,
She
you know,
won me over.
I've got, it's really great.
Maybe you could even discuss like VTubers there. That'd be crazy.
Talking to somebody who I never thought in a million years I would ever talk to or
That's
meet,
crazy.
you know what I mean? And I feel like in adult life,
She loves
when you
sneed
start
posting.
to sort of form your little life in your little bubble, it's harder to penetrate that bubble. So I just have been so fascinated by every single little thing that she says, because it's not much. So everything that she says, I gotta kind of hang on to, you know. But
It's
anyway,
not much.
The whole point of this was that she told me that her name is Adolf, and I was kind of like, you know. And I thought it was weird, definitely, but
Gotta be one shot.
You know,
Gotta be one shot, like fucking Dunkirk,
weren't close
bro.
enough we weren't close enough that I could ask her, why is that your name? You know what I mean?
Why
And
is your
anybody's
name
anything,
Adolf?
right? I just sort of figured, you know, I don't know, maybe she's German or something. And I was like, whatever. I mean, she doesn't go by
1917.
Adolf,
Sorry,
you know? I mean,
my
that's
bad.
what it says on her driver's license, and that's what. You know, I guess I was willing to overlook it. There were 3 reasons why I was willing to overlook it.
I hate this.
Man. But
What are the 3
basically,
reasons?
The past couple weeks we were dating, and it was only really this week that we got close enough where I felt like I could ask her. And she told me that her name was not her birth name.
Really? Wow.
She chose that name.
She chose.
She, you know, some personal details, but you know that basically she was in a position in her life where she chose to have a new name, and that was the
She
name
chose it. Wow.
So that was odd.
Good for her.
You know, it's one thing if maybe her parents were weird and they just named her that, but the fact that she picked that name, I don't know. I mean, I So I asked her, why did you pick that name? And
Why
she
did
said,
you pick the name Adolf?
She started getting very defensive, and she was like, what's the problem? Is there a problem with that name? I was like, no, I mean, it's just not a name that is really in use much anymore, you know? And she said, I know, that's why I picked it. I think it's unique. And and she's sort of in a lot of punk adjacent circles. So I think that's really what it is. I think that she just likes to
It's so unique.
You know, be controversial. And she's what do you call it? A provocateur.
Please don't.
You know? So I think that that's sort of like a punk
Isabel
thing for her. She
Master
likes,
Light,
and
her parents named her that.
You know,
Well, I'm gonna name
when they hear her name.
my daughter Ozempic Pinkerton.
And that was basically what she told me that night when I asked her. She said, "Yeah, I think it's a very strong name. I think."
And my son Daniel
I think
Hentschel,
it's an admirable
first name.
I think that it's a name that you know, when I tell people, I feel like we can immediately. It's sort of like I know that I'm gonna have something in common with people if I tell them my name, and then they.
My daughter Gamer.
I don't know.
My son again, Joseph Stalin and my daughter Ozempic Pinkerton.
This is kind of why I'm really bringing it up at all because I just it would really suck. It sucks that I
Dick
feel
boys
like
suck. No
we
way.
are so perfect for each other.
Welcome to
But
no
Hinabobina
way.
Twitch channel.
I want to see the birth certificate that says their name is Dick Boy Suck.
Because I feel like
Really bad bread. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in.
I don't know. It's just sort of the type of thing where like I'm not a. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a liberal, but I'm not. I'm not a right wing guy. You know, I sort of.
He's definitely a libertarian. That's why he's dating someone who just turned 18.
I don't really. You know, politically, I just sort of move around a lot, and my politics is no BS. You know, my politics is tell it like it is. So, He's a radical centrist.
I
think that I don't. It's not like I'm like clutching my pearls. Like
yeah, libertarians wouldn't wait that long. You're right.
It would be
libertarians would lose interest.
You know what I mean? And that's sort of why, and again, another reason why I wanted to make the video because I wanted to tell you that this was going on, and I guess
Joe's
it's all part of the larger conversation of like, are you willing to overlook political differences if it's somebody you love? You know, like, are you willing to? I think you should. What's the line? You know, I mean, I think about that all the time. Like, would I be able to date somebody who was against abortion? You know, because I'm very pro-abortion, you know, I mean, I'm saying stuff like that, or gay marriage. Would I be able to date somebody who was against gay marriage or stuff like that, you know? And so, would I be able to date somebody? If that, I don't know. She's never said anything about any specific group of
He's
people,
a radical
so
centrist.
I don't know if it's not like confirmed that she has
pro-late abortion. He is, bro.
Like that. It's just.
That's why he hit that kid with his car.
Would that really be a deal breaker for me? What would be the deal breaker, basically?
What's the deal breaker for Dan?
My concern is that this name is sort of a is like a sort of the tip of the iceberg.
A red flag,
and,
maybe?
You know, if that's what she's willing to let people know about her right off the bat, you know, then what else is down there, I guess, is my concern. Now, she's very, very hot. So that's how another factor here. And I know I'm rambling. I don't know. I guess it's causing. I don't know. You know, that's the whole thing. There's no. I don't date people a lot. I don't really do all this stuff, and so I don't know what's. I don't know. I really wanted to work out, and I just feel like it would really suck if this was the deal breaker. You know what I mean? If this was just an indicative of.
Her name was Adolf.
Of more problems, basically. So I don't know, because I feel like we've already had the conversation of why is that your name? So I feel like the next conversation that we have a conversation that's like, again, if I bring it up again, then she's going to be like, so you have a problem with it. And then she's going to get very, very, very upset.
You have a problem with the fact that my name is Adolf.
I guess that's it. I don't know. I would love for I know typically I'm the one who gives relationship advice, but I guess I would love some help, you know? I don't know.
It's really brave of Dan to ask us for help. I gotta play one game of Mahjong. We need to play one game of Mahjong for my dailies, brothers. Me when I'm pronouns. Me when I'm from Quebec. The worst thing of all time.